Hello everyone, I welcome you back to another important lecture. And for today's class, we people are going to be understanding the advantages and the disadvantages that we have got for the first type of the reproduction that is followed by the living organism, and this was the asexual reproduction with us. If I were to recall, in the previous class we were done with discussing that how come the bacteria and the plants they would be undergoing the asexual reproduction, but here we would be simply looking on toward its advantages and the disadvantages, and that too in the wild species and in the crop plants that we have got. So if we were to be talking about the wild species, so these wild species, whenever they follow the asexual reproduction, so the growth of the population is very rapid, and at the same time, whatsoever the environment that is available to these plants, so they can spread over that suitable environment, so they can exploit those environments very quickly. Another advantage that we see is in terms of the time and the efficiency of the energy, because you see that for the asexual there is the need of only one parent. We do not require two parents, so no time is wasted in finding a suitable mate. And why this is energy efficient? Because there is no such need of making the gamete cells like the sperm cell and the egg cells or the pollen grains in context of the plant. So the plants they would not waste energy in making those gametes. So this is actually energy efficient with us. And at the same time, the asexual reproduction would be completed much faster as compared to the sexual reproduction where we have to wait for months for the new offspring to arrive. But at the same time, there would also be the presence of some disadvantages. And you see that since one parent is involved, so all of the offspring they are clones or they are genetically identical to their parents. So we will see no genetic changes or no genetic variations in the resulting offsprings. And as a result of that, whenever the condition of the temperature or the water availability or if there would be the arrival of the new predators, so these offsprings or the organisms that we found by the asexual reproduction, they cannot adapt to these habitat changes. And by some mean or the other, if there happen to be the presence of new pathogen that is bringing a new disease, so it would kill the entire population as they do not have any of the genetic variations in them. And moreover, we say as that since in the asexual reproduction, no combination of the genes happen from the two parents, but rather than the entire genomic makeup is coming as it is into the offspring. So here the evolution is slow, and by the evolution, what we mean is that these plants that are reproducing asexually, they would change very slowly with time. Likewise, if I were to give you an idea in terms of the advantages and the disadvantages that happens for the crop plants, so these crop plants, you see that they can be giving rise to the offsprings with the desired characteristics which they have got in them. Like if I had got a crop plant and it had got high yield and it was resistant to the diseases and it was also resistant to the drought. So all of the resulting offsprings they would have these desirable characteristics in them as they are the clones of the parents. Moreover, for the crop plants, what we need is the uniformity in the offsprings. By the uniformity, what I mean is that if there was a crop plant and its grain size was this much, so I would want is that all of the resulting offspring should also have a grain size like this, because this would make them more valuable in terms of customers purchasing them. So if I want a uniformity in the resulting offsprings in terms of the commercial sale, so this asexual reproduction is advantage for the crop plants. And at the same time, the crops can be produced much faster in less time, so we would sell them fastly in the market, and by that we can earn more of the profit. And apart from that, in asexual reproduction, since there is one plant involved, so there is no need for us to be wasting money or to be investing money in the purchase of the seeds. Now, if we were to look on toward the disadvantages of the asexual reproduction for the crop plants, so again the situation is somewhat same as we have seen in case of the wild plants, that any of the crops they would not be in the position to adapt to any of the change that they would encounter in their immediate environment. If there is an issue of the drought or the water shortage, or if there is a change of the temperature in the external environment, these crops would not be in the position to survive. Now, the other situation is that in the asexual reproduction, since we do not have seeds, but rather than we have got some cuttings of the stems or a situation like that, so we would need to employ a lot of human force for it and or a lot of human input for it, and we also have to be doing a lot of their management, so this would make it less cost effective. And if by some mean we had got a diseased parent plant and we used it to be making the identical offspring, so these identical offspring they would also be diseased. And if our crop plant was being attacked by a disease or a pest, so this means that the entire crops field that we have, it would be wiped out and it would result for big financial losses for the farmer. So I hope that now the advantages and the disadvantages of this asexual reproduction would be clear to all of you. In our next class, we will try to see that how come the sexual reproduction happens in the plant. So see you in the next lecture.